Hello, my name is William Chia. I am your host for the AI Kubernetes Show, live from KubeCon in Atlanta. We're talking about how the state of AI is changing the state of platform engineering. Today, I'm very excited to have with me Kasper Nissen, who is a principal developer advocate at Dash Zero. Kasper, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
I'm excited to be chatting with you because I think out of all of the guests we'll have on the show, you have a deep background in observability in particular. And I'm curious, just at a high level, how are you thinking about the intersection between the wave of AI tooling, how AI is changing things, and how, in particular, observability is changing or needs to change?
Yeah, I think observability in general is uniquely positioned in the world of AI and LLMs because we have in the project OpenTelemetry, we have semantic conventions, we have a lot of great documentation, specifications. There's a lot of great data out there that is really usable for an LLM to work on and work with, meaning that we can reduce a lot of the hallucinations that we typically see in an LLM when it's working. So I think observability is uniquely positioned because we have so much data out there, so many conventions, we all agree on what it is. And that is really usable when we use it in conjunction with observability. And what I'm seeing is that I think we'll see a change in how we are interacting with data in general, with telemetry in general, moving away from looking at dashboards to asking things in a natural language. Hey, is my service up and running? The LLM comes back and say, yeah, everything's good, or everything is, since the last deployment, this thing has been failing. Which impacts the user in this way, and this is what you should do about it. So I think there's some really, really interesting potentials in this area.
Well, I like what you're saying, and I think it has implications far beyond just the realm of observability or platform engineering, but to anybody in most AI use cases, because what I'm hearing from you is there is this deep challenge of AI hallucinations that all of us deal with, and anybody, the more you use AI, probably the more you hate AI, the more you love it.
Yeah.
The hallucinations are so frustrating, and one of the tools to combat that, or two of them you mentioned, are the amounts of data that you can pass in as context to any model can decrease hallucinations, increase quality of output, but also the semantic meaning, agreed upon data structures, that also increases the quality of the output. So these are old hat for those folks in observability, but may not be how other folks, if they're not deep into data or observability. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who is a React developer or building a feature application in Java who maybe doesn't necessarily have this same kind of observability mindset? What could they start thinking about, or how could they apply those concepts to their workflow to improve their interaction with the AI tooling they use?
So this is I guess a deep question, and we can go in many different directions here. But one of the things that I've been talking a lot about this year has been the intersection between platform engineering and observability, and how we as platform engineers enable our developers to get to a good starting point, a good foundation of telemetry. And I think that's where platform engineers in general can help out, providing a good foundation for our developers to have all the data and telemetry ready out of the box, ready to go. It's structured, it's already there. So when things go wrong, they have the data available. They don't need to be a telemetry expert or anything like that. It should just come as a good default of the platform. And then when you're then combining that with the world of AI and LLMs in observability, well, now you just have all the data ready, it's prepared for you, you have the LLM, you have the semantic conventions, you have all of that in place. So you can now starting to talk to the agent in natural language. And that is a lot easier than scrolling through all the different traces, all the different logs, all the different metrics, trying to figure out what is wrong, maybe looking at a dashboard and maybe looking at a second dashboard and trying to reason about all the data that is there. So I think having that LLM in there and being able to ask in a natural language and ask it, is there something going on with my system at the moment? And it trawls through all the data in a much faster time than you as a human being can do. and then it sums up what is wrong, which is really, really powerful in a world where you as a developer are not an expert in this field.
So what I'm hearing is the age-old partnership of dev and ops. We could throw security in there as well.
Yeah.
But really for the folks who are feature developers, service developers, front end, back end, the partnership with your platform team, the platform engineering team is the ones who can really expose observability data out of your runtime applications to give you the information you need as a developer to improve your service or your API or your app. So there's a partnership element here that is the way to effectiveness. And then this idea of having, semantic meaning within your data, within your structure, and having a natural language interface to that. I'm curious, and I know you're over at Dash Zero. I don't know if there is a mechanism either within Dash Zero or within some other kind of tooling that you have used or are familiar with, where there's just an example of this. Normally you'd have to run through a dashboard and you would need to look at many, many things, but now you can have a natural language interface to that same workflow. Is there like a workflow that comes to mind?
Yeah. So we just recently launched something we call Agent Zero, which is our agentic observability platform within the Dash Zero as a product. And we've heard we had some customers being on pretty early. We heard a story about Kafka experts spending like an hour trying to figure out what was wrong. And then asking the agent what is up, and then it came up with the answer. And there was some partition somewhere that needed to be restarted or something like that. I don't have all the details, but they spent a couple of hours, couldn't figure out what was wrong, asking the agent, and they came back with the response in like 2 minutes, and that was it.
I think any of us have probably had a moment like this, where if you think about the audience at home watching this YouTube video, about something that you are the deep expert in, the thing that you know really, really well. And even if you know that well, troubleshooting can sometimes be an endless cycle. You think it's going to be 5 minutes more, and then 5 minutes later you realize, I'm just on the cusp. An hour later, and you're still trying to figure this out, even when you are the deep expert. So there are things that AI is really good at, things that it's really bad at. But one of the things that it's tremendously good at is ingesting large amounts of information to filter what would take a human a lot longer to get to. So in this case, even folks that were Kafka experts do this every day. This is their day job. Couldn't find the problem in an hour, went to the LLM interface and got an answer back within a few minutes. That's a very powerful use case.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really one of the main things within AI and observability right now is that AI troubleshooting is a really hot topic these days. This is also what we are building into Agent Zero. And I think every observability vendor out there is having some kind of similar solution to this because it just makes a lot of sense. It can save you endless amount of hours during the night. Like an incident at 3 a.m. You don't want to be browsing through different browser tabs, trying to correlate across the different browser tabs. You just want a solution that basically provides you with an answer. This is what is going on. This is the actual impact of what is happening. And this is potentially, maybe in the future, we even have multiple agents working together, MCP servers from different companies. It's going to be interesting to see how the industry is sort of evolving in this space as well, because there's some really, really interesting potential in having a tool that is able to observe and figure out what is going on, maybe even pinpointing that it's something in this particular file. And then if you could then fix that issue using an agent as well, and maybe another MCP server for GitHub or something else, create the PR. So the only thing you had to do as an on-call responder in 3 a.m. in the morning would be to maybe just merge the PR and then everything is good.
This is a powerful workflow that even though there's a lot of tooling that can do a lot of automation for us and generate that at varying amounts of quality, at some stage in the cycle, we still want a human in the loop. And one thing that you had shared with me in our kind of pre-show conversations is that AI accelerates development, but it doesn't replace true craftsmanship. And this resonated with me a lot. You can use AI to accelerate development or anything that you're doing, but it doesn't replace craftsmanship. Tell me a little bit about this statement. I think it's powerful.
Yeah, I think everybody has tried to using a coding agent these days, right? You need to be very structured in your approach. You need to be very specific. I want you to do this. I want you to maybe do test-driven development, like write the test case, right? This is what I want to achieve. Now start by writing the test cases. Then now let's try and make this test fail. Then let's maybe implement it and make it green so that it actually succeeds. So I think you need to be very, very like structured and really guiding the coding agent as it is right now. But it still are really powerful because you can do a lot of things in a really short amount of time. But you need to understand how you're building good software to be able to actually build something that is usable going forward and maintainable in the future as well. And that's what I mean by we cannot replace craftsmanship, because I think actually we as an industry has an interesting like problem in the next maybe 5 years, which is if every like engineers coming out of university now like are trained to use an LLM, they're losing sort of the critical sense and the craftsmanship. So it's going to be interesting to see how we are then like building up that experience so that you are actually able to use AI in an efficient way. I think that is an interesting topic, and I don't have the answer for it, but I think it's an interesting debate.
I think of this on two sides.
Yeah.
One is on the side of the AI, where, I don't know if you've had this experience. I've heard from many folks that I've chatted with when they asked the AI to write the unit test, and then the unit test, they said, okay, now fix it so that the unit test passes. And it does so by commenting out the unit test.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen that as well. It's
this is a difference between human craftsmanship and
yes.
AI given a goal and will accomplish the goal by whatever means is available to it.
Yeah.
But then also on the human part, which maybe gets talked about a little bit less, but I think is far more powerful. And this is the idea that everything that we are good at, every single thing that you or me or anybody watching this is good at, they started out bad at.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of pain and failure to get good at that thing. And so if we are easing the path for people, which on the one hand sounds good, but we are reducing the struggle to get there, you lose something in terms of like your ability as a craftsperson to have that level of, expertise in the end.
Yeah.
So there's definitely no easy answers here.
No.
But I'm just curious how, as you think about it personally in your own use of AI, how do you balance this trade-off between I can make my life far more productive, but I'm giving up something to do so? How do you make that trade-off for yourself personally?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because so AI coding agents can really speed up your like productivity, and it's really powerful, and I use it quite a lot in my day-to-day work. I'm not coding like things that goes into production these days, but I am coding a lot of things. But yeah, it's an interesting like dilemma of how much can you actually how lazy are you can you actually be, right? Because I also take myself sometimes in just saying, okay, now I have my coding agent, it's running already, it has access to my local Kubernetes cluster. So instead of just writing the command, it just fix the thing for me, get the logs, and if the log says it's erroring out with something, then it can fix it instead of me, doing kube control logs and get the logs and put them back into the LM. It's much easier to just using the coding agent for something like that. But it's really lazy of me to do something like that. So it's a very interesting, and it's a fine balance to sort of figure out how much should you then rely and push onto the agent compared to how much are you giving out, and in terms of your own experience and I guess in your own sort of knowledge going forward, because it's an interesting dilemma. I don't think I have the right answer, but I'm trying to use AI as a tool. For me, it's just a tool. It can do a lot of really cool things, but it's just a tool in the end.
There's an age-old, the age-old statement of the best programmer in your org is the laziest right? Especially when we're starting about platform engineering, the world of DevOps, SREs, the one who doesn't want to deal with that toil and automates it away is, the lazier you are is often the best person in your org who's doing the best things sometimes. But in this world, if the friction becomes so low that all of a sudden you give up your understanding of it, that can be a trade-off. It is interesting. Do you ever force yourself to do things the hard way?
I do. But I'm also seeing more and more of going the lazy route, to be honest, because it's so much faster than doing the hard way. But I think it's a good reminder, maybe also to me personally, that I need to probably to do things a little bit more the hard way, just to make sure that I'm staying on point. But I've actually been doing one of the things that I've been doing quite a lot in terms of keeping my knowledge and being like fresh in mind in the topics of cloud native has been to use and take all the different certifications within the CNCF. So I'm a golden CubeStar, so I've got I've been through all the hard certifications, all the hands-on exams and all that. So
a golden CubeStar.
Yeah.
There are not many, right?
I think around 100 in the world.
There's only 100 in the world.
Yeah, something like that.
That are at the gold level.
Yes.
But so even as you are expediting a lot of your work and accelerating it and maybe removing some challenge for yourself, you then look for other areas to get challenged with. That's like certifications or to stretch yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
This really resonates with me. Something in my role that I do every day is write copy, whether that's internal documentation or words that our organization needs, or things that are written for media or blog or social. I write a lot of copy. And what you've reminded me is that I have not written any copy without AI in 9 months, at least, maybe 18.
I'm guilty of that as well.
But the other weekend, I actually wrote an entire short story without AI because I needed to do that for myself, and it caused my brain to think a different way.
Yeah.
And so kind of what you're saying, if you're automating a lot over here, but then maybe you do a certification, you do some learning, something to challenge yourself, it will keep your brain sharp and plastic to adapt to challenges.
But maybe that's also one of the really interesting things here is that if we are saving time on doing more trivial things, then we can accelerate on other things. So we are skilling up on whatever is the new thing, right? So this pushes us to push everything a little bit faster forward as well. So I think it's a balance. It's an interesting discussion. But yeah, I really think that you need to stay fresh and really keep yourself keep on learning all the time. I think that's the best advice. But I think the coding agent really has a good place there where you can push away some of the repetitive work, all of the trivial stuff, and then focus on something that's more new and more fresh and more exciting, maybe.
Pretty spectacular. Well, I wonder when we think about organizations, and I know that I think everybody we have on the show writes some amount of code, but everybody, some people are full-time software engineers, other people have other roles. Your role is a very community-centric role, and you engage with a lot of platform engineers all the time.
Yeah. I'm
curious, as you see this shift happening, as AI is changing how platform engineering is done, what is either the advice you have for organizations about how they should be thinking about structuring their organizations or their teams, or thinking about the art and craft of platform engineering, or what great ideas have you heard from your community that you think are worth spreading to other folks?
I think there's a lot of great advice within, if you're not doing platform engineering already, I think you should definitely be looking at the principles of platform engineering. It makes a lot of sense. Of course, there is, depending on the size of the organizations, you can't be too small to actually where it makes sense to adopt platform engineering. But I really think that having that self-service experience, having platform as a product, and just making sure that the developers can focus on building building things that provides value to the end customer of whatever company that you are like representing. I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think that the advice would be to read, if you're not already using or implementing platform engineering, make sure that you understand what it is, so that if you had that need, you know exactly what to do. And I would say, again, same for observability. Make sure that it's so easy for developers to get that good baseline. And probably also for AI. I've also worked in my previous role at Lunar Bank as also in the AI space, where we're also like working on how do we make it easy for developers to consume like LLMs in the organization. We didn't come that far. I had to have a change of jobs, but what we were also focusing on there is really how can we like build in the compliance? How can we build in all the same defaults around using an LLM? How can we make sure that all the checks comes back to us, and how can we provide scorecards for the different models and evaluate them so that we, as an organization, when we adopt these tools, we are safe. That was a lot of advice. I'm not sure if it.
Well, what I hear you saying at the end, or even as a through line,
Yeah.
and something that resonates deeply with me, is that out of all the engineering disciplines, which I think we have a heart for all kinds of software engineers, whether they're even like a data scientist with like some Python and a notebook,
Yeah.
to the front end developer writing a little bit of JavaScript or React, all across the board. In the realm of platform engineering in particular, is this mindset of optimizing routines for the end, structuring for the goal.
Yeah.
And so in terms of organizations thinking about how they adopt AI, it is something that the platform engineering org thinks about potentially more than everybody else, which is what are the safeguards that need to be in place? How do we need to build this thing so that it is serves the needs of the audience? In this type of mindset, if you're always thinking about, okay, how is the thing I'm building meeting the needs of my customers, which for a platform engineer is the other software developers in their org, that type of mindset is the exact mindset needed in an AI world to take that skill set and that mindset and then attach it to that problem.
Yeah.
The guardrails, the systems, the structures, the accessibility.
Exactly, because we all developers cannot be experts on clouds and on Kubernetes, on observability, on AI. So we need that platform organization to take on that responsibility of providing those kind of features or capabilities as like platform products. And that is really, I guess, the new thing here is we are talking more and more about platform as a product. AI as a product, I would assume AI as a product, part of the platform. So that is really what I'm also seeing, and what there's a lot of discussion around here at KubeCon as well. Treat your platform as a product and treat your developers as end customers of that product. So make sure to provide good support, proper documentation, maybe even like advocacy internally, having your platform team go out to the developers, show them how to do it. It should be as smooth as possible to adopt AI or adopt observability or get things into production.
I think so. The titles often change for, sysadmin, DevOps, SRE, platform engineer, but the mindset is the same when you are working as, what I would call developer enablement, that your focus is on how am I making this organization better? How am I making these software teams better? And it can be as simple as providing the tools, but as complex as documentation, workflows, processes that are accelerating adoption within the organization and making people successful with it versus kind of faltering. I've really enjoyed this conversation, Kasper. I'm curious, for the audience at home, if they want to catch up with you personally or learn more about Dash Zero or Agent Zero, where should they go and how can they check in with you?
Yeah, so find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Blue Sky as well, kaspernissen.xyz. If you want to know more about Dash Zero, check out dashzero.com. I think that's some good resources. So yeah, feel free to connect.
Kasper, I've really enjoyed having you on the AI Kubernetes Show.
Cool, thank you so much for having me.